Stay safe. From KCRG TV 9, this is First Alert Weather Now.
And good evening. I'm meteorologist Corey Thompson, welcoming you to the Thursday night edition of First Alert Weather Now. We actually have showers and storms moving around eastern Iowa, and some of those have been a bit on the strong side so far. More to come over the next several hours. We also have some nicer weather to come and some more warm weather too. So there's something for everyone to kind of focus on, except for snow lovers. We're not quite going that cold just quite yet. We also have a look at our grower's guide from Justin Roberts coming up in a little bit. Obviously, drought has been a pretty big topic as conditions have remained dry. We'll break down that as well as your forecast for fun. But first, what you need to know as you step outside this evening is that chance for storms. Your first alert to what will likely be a stormy evening across most of eastern Iowa. So if you are spending time outdoors this evening or going out for dinner, going out for some other activity this evening, just keep that in mind. Keep that KCRG TV 9 First Alert Weather app handy and have those alerts set to on. Now tomorrow gives us a break. We will see blustery conditions, but lots of sunshine and temperatures that are pretty reasonable for this time of year. The weekend also looks pretty good too, especially if you like those fall-like conditions. But that big jump in temperatures will be with us early next week, more late summer-like weather compared to what we've seen over the last couple of days. Now here's where we stand on Pinpoint Doppler radar live at this hour. Up near the Decorah area, we have a pretty good cluster of storms going, but starting to even exit that area. McKee County will be seeing these within the next half hour to hour, but those will be gone pretty soon. Now as we pan here to the south, bear with me. There's a little bit of storm activity just about to cross the Mississippi River south of Dubuque in the Jackson County area. Then we are watching this storm and this cluster of storms pretty carefully here just east of Des Moines. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for Jasper County until 6:45. Quarter-sized hail has been the warning there. No reports that I've seen from the National Weather Service, at least initially, out of this storm, but it's something to keep an eye on as we go through the next couple of hours. That chance for a little bit of storm activity that contains some hail. And I expect more to develop too. Your planner involves somewhat more widespread activity over the next 3 to 4 hours here in eastern Iowa before it begins to move out and taper off. So we at least have that shot at seeing some rain. We'll talk about the rainfall totals that we could get out of this coming up in just a little bit, but we are already starting to feel the weekend too. It's just a day away. TV 9's First Alert meteorologist Joe Winters has today's forecast for fun.
With meteorologist Joe Winters away for the day, I'm the director of fun for this episode. Let's take a look at what we can expect. Let's start with going outside, and the latest fall foliage report from the Iowa DNR says right now past the peak in north and east Iowa. And if you go towards central parts of the state, that's where you're going to find the most beautiful colors. Waterloo, Manchester, Dubuque, and south down to Cedar Rapids. Iowa City and Washington, oh, we're getting close with some beautiful colors. And if you see any, we would love to see them too. You can share them with us through the UNews app on our First Alert weather app, like this one from McGregor, submitted by Amy. We thank her for that. Activities tomorrow. We'll run the rain out of here. We'll do some clearing as we head through the early morning hours, 57 at lunchtime, and that'll be kind of our top temp, upper 50s to low 60s. Now, the Witch Walk Sip and Shop is going on this evening. Shopping, music, specials, food, drink, and more. And there you see some great weather until that rain moves in later on this evening. If you're going to hit a haunted house the next couple of days, take your umbrella tonight. It'll be dry Friday and Saturday with temperatures in the lower 60s. We've got a dandy when it comes to football tomorrow night on KCRG 9.2. Game of the week, Keokuk versus Mount Vernon. 54 for the kickoff. Northwest winds at 10 to 20, down to the upper 40s as we head through the end of the game. Iowa Shout on the Iowa Pentacrest this evening. Take your rain gear with you with temperatures in the upper 60s. And the parade, of course, coming up on Friday. Temperatures in the upper 50s there. That is your forecast for fun. Details on all these at kcrg.com.
Now, your First Alert forecast with meteorologist Corey Thompson.
An odd situation where we're able to highlight the precipitation boxes here on your First Alert. That includes the chance for rain and storms. Now, rain and storms both highlight in orange for that potential for a stronger storm. We've seen a couple of those out there this evening. We'll highlight that here until late this evening. After about midnight, we'll still see some rain and storm activity around, but it starts to get a little bit less intense and starts to also wane. And by tomorrow morning, we're expecting things to be pretty dry. Now, Pinpoint Doppler radar, here's the wide view once again. Up near the Decorah area, a good cluster of storms over the past hour or two. And this is is a view of the last 3 hours here around eastern Iowa. And that first initial push of storms gave us some rain and a little bit of small hail, especially in Waterloo, Cedar Rapids area, tracking off to the north from there. But Dubuque about to see some of those downpours too. We'll pinpoint this cluster here in northeast Iowa first. Pause the radar for a moment here. You can see a scattered nature of it. Not constant heavy rain, but little downpours. Lots of frequent lightning along with this too. This storm has been the strongest, at least over the past hour or so. That severe thunderstorm warning still goes for another 10 minutes here in Jasper County. Of course, that's outside the TV9 viewing area, but these storms are tracking off to the east and northeast, and so it could affect portions of Tama County, Poweshiek County within the next half hour to hour. We're talking near the Tama area, perhaps about 7:15, 7:30, as this continues to move that direction. View from our Iowa City Cam shows a little bit of that development happening on the southern edge of that cluster of storms well off to the west. So we're seeing that dark cloud blocking out the setting sun, and then you see additional development trying to take place off to the south of it. And so we're watching for that area to fill in a little bit within the next half hour to hour two. Now, around the area, temperatures are still fairly mild, 61 in Washington, 60 in Dubuque. Winds around the south or southeast about 10 to 20 miles per hour. And over the next few hours, here's where things go. Pinpoint Futurecast shows the activity becoming a bit more widespread, and especially along and south of Highway 30. That's where the best chance for some heavier rainfall will be. To the north, notice that there still is some shower and storm activity, but it's a little bit more scattered. By 10 and 11 o'clock, still in the Cedar Rapids, Iowa City area. Dubuque still seeing the possibility of storms during that time. But after that, we really do start to see it move to the east. After about 2 or 3, things should turn a lot quieter. Clear skies likely as we start off your Friday too. Winds out of the north or north-northwest will be with us throughout the day, fairly blustery at times, and bringing in some cooler temperatures as we head into the weekend. Now your chance for precipitation is highest, again, right about Highway 30 down toward Interstate 80. Looks like that's the area where some clusters of storms could repeat over the same spot, and that's where rainfall totals could exceed half an inch, maybe up to an inch in a few spots, which would be great to see. We really could use it. Now your first alert forecast overnight, temperatures fall to the 40s after that rain and storm activity ends. 43 in Charles City, 50 in Washington. We'll keep our winds out of the south initially and then shifting to the east and the north as we go toward tomorrow morning. We'll keep those northerly winds going through the day. Only low to mid 60s tomorrow, which is still a handful of degrees above normal, but a handful of degrees below where we were today. 65 in Iowa City, 61 in Fayette. Lots of sunshine to go around. Now we do have another opportunity for showers and storms next week, but it's not after a quiet weekend. 59 degrees on Saturday, 63 on Sunday. Both days have some sun. Saturday has less wind. So honestly, that may end up being the better feeling day of the two. Your 9-day features more showers and storms again by the middle of next week. That's when that chance makes its return. Then a few more chances late next week too as things turn cooler. That Halloween forecast has started to shape up a little bit better, though. That's the good sign for hopeful trick-or-treaters around eastern Iowa. We may get away with it there on Thursday with that opportunity for some dry weather to sneak in between. So plenty to watch over the next several days. A more active weather pattern continues here, at least over the scope of our 9-day here in eastern Iowa. Now, obviously, dry weather, rain, what we need, what we haven't had has been a big topic lately. Justin Roberts is here with this week's Growers Guide.
Time for our Grower's Guide, and as usual, we employ the wit, wisdom, and charming good looks of Andy Peterson from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. Andy, how has your harvest been, my friend?
Personally, we just wrapped up last night, about 9:30 or so. Took 30 days with no breaks, obviously, for rain, which is, it makes for a long harvest season. I think we were down for 4 days with a couple of setbacks, even though obviously run a pretty strong maintenance program every day, but a lot of moving parts, and sometimes things decide to stop moving and need to be fixed. Beans right on the 3-year average as far as results go. Corn is either at or near a record, maybe 1 or 2%. I have to get the final data back to come up and be sure. Right now, we've just obviously got some estimates, and it's right on the line, which is remarkable, given that we did not have an ideal growing season. And I know there was a lot of discussion. I think you and I talked here a month, 6 weeks ago about this topic too. You know, there's a lot of discussion with the rainfall to make up for last year's dry weather early on in the season, and how much better things were going, which was true. But really, as we sit here, you know, praying that your forecast holds tonight, right, and tomorrow, you know, we had 28.5 inches of rain between March 1st and July 30th. and 2.5 since then. And
Yeah.
you build the yield factory, if you will, those plants during vegetative growth on a swamp, and then expect them to perform in a desert is essentially what happened. And
Well, and you, not unlike a lot of folks, latest crop report out this week talks about a lot of stuff is done. We saw, and we'll take a look at the graphics here. 91% of the soybean crop is in the bin, and 68% of the corn crop across the state of Iowa is already in place. And that's got to be a good feeling, Andy, to know that a lot of it's been done well ahead of normal.
yeah, second year in a row. I think that's kind of happened last year. Obviously, the drought and the short crop usually sped things up. But I would say that the dry August and dry September probably sped things up this year. So yeah, those numbers from USDA's Upper Midwest Regional Office: 24% of the corn crop harvested last week. That is a huge number. That's about as good as you can do on harvest. Soybeans a little slower than that. 10%, 81% complete a week ago, 91% now. And just not many beans out there left to be harvested.
Before we part ways, where can people hear you daily and get more of this great insight?
So Iowa Ag Matters is the long form program, sort of the marquee that we do each and every day on 8 different affiliates around the state, or iowaagnet.com. The conversation continues there. You can check out YouTube as well, Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, or great formats like this, Justin. Always great to visit.
You as well, Andy. Thank you much. That's our Grower's Guide this week. Back to you guys.
And thank you, Justin and Andy. And things over the next couple of days, pretty quiet around eastern Iowa. A little windy, though, at times. Remember, tomorrow, blustery from the north. Saturday, though, is when winds will actually turn a little bit lighter. And that's kind of the anti-highlight here, where we'll have less wind, some really comfortable conditions as we look toward your Saturday. Now, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, increasing wind speeds. In fact, by Tuesday, those gusts could be up toward 40 miles per hour coming from the south. Now, that's really going to send those temperatures soaring. So we go from the upper 50s to low 60s on Saturday and Sunday, back to the 70s and then low 80s on Tuesday. That 82 degrees would be within shouting distance of a record high for that date. So it's something to keep an eye on as we look ahead toward there. Now, in terms of total rainfall, out of these 2 storm systems that we're going to have today, and then again by Wednesday, when you add those 2 together, we could be talking about substantial totals, given that we get those storm totals tonight that we are expecting. So it's something to keep an eye on, but it is hopeful. We have been spending weeks where the rain chances that we've even had have been very limited indeed. And so we are happy to see a little bit of a change of pace there. We're going to take one more look at pinpoint Doppler radar before we go, just to recap where we are in terms of tonight's storm chance. It still does show a decent amount of storm activity west of, let's say, the Grinnell area, right in the Grinnell area, in fact, moving to the northeast. Now, that severe thunderstorm warning that was in effect for Jasper County has been allowed to expire from the National Weather Service, so that actually is going to go away. No new warnings have been issued, but this storm just near and south of Grinnell does look like it's a little bit on the mean side. Certainly downpours, a little bit of hail possible, moving just near Highway 146 and tracking off to the northeast from there. So if you live in southern Powesheik County, along and south of Interstate 80, be mindful of that as it tracks off to the east and northeast at about 45 miles per hour. Additional shower and storm development is likely, so we want you to stay weather aware as we go forward over the next little while. We, of course, will keep you updated on KCRG TV9, KCRG TV9 social media pages, as well as KCRG.com. Back with live updates for sure tonight on the KCRG TV9 News at 10. Thanks for joining me this evening here on First Alert Weather Now, and have a great rest of the night.